Members, it's the appointed time. We have a quorum. Let's get started. This meeting is scheduled to end at 5:30 p.m. today. If necessary, I will extend this meeting by 15 minutes at most. I remind members that if you have any direct or indirect pecuniary interests in relation to the discussion items today, please, in accordance with 83A of the Rules of Procedure, declare the nature of such interests before you speak. Please also bear in mind Rule 84 of the Rules of Procedure in relation to voting on items that you have pecuniary interests with. I declare that I am the consultant of the Bank of China, Hong Kong, as there are two public works projects that we will consider today. First item, FCR 2025-2632. This item seeks approval of the recommendation of the Public Works Subcommittee made at this meeting held on the 18th of June 2025 on PWSC 2025-2610. It is 373 EP, a 30-classroom primary school at Area 17, Fanling North New Development Area. It is to upgrade the project to Category A at an estimated cost of $485.5 million in money of the day prices. As the PWSC did not recommend the paper for further discussion by FC, and there are no more than 3 members who have jointly requested FC to discuss this further. Therefore, this committee will, in accordance with paragraph 3A of the FC procedures, follow the recommendation of the PWSC, and we will not discuss this paper further. I now put this item to vote. Will members in favor of this proposal please raise their hands? Thank you. Any members against this proposal? None. I believe that the majority of members present are in favor of this proposal. I declare this proposal passed. Item 2, FCR bracket 2025-2633. This item seeks approval of the recommendation of the PWSC made at this meeting held on the 23rd of June 2025 on PWSC bracket 2025-2611. It's 369 EP, a 30-classroom primary school at Site 2, E2, Development of Anderson Road Quarry Site, Sai Kung. It is to upgrade the project to Category A at an estimated cost of $482.6 million in money of the day prices. Like the previous item, the PWSC did not recommend further discussion of this item by this committee. I'll therefore put this item to vote. Will members in favor of this proposal please raise their hands? Thank you. Any members who are against this proposal? None? I believe the majority of members present are in favor of this proposal. I declare that this proposal passed. Agenda item 3, FCR bracket 2025-2634. This item seeks approval of the recommendation of the Establishment Subcommittee made at this meeting held on the 25th of June 2025. It is EC 2025-269. Creation of one-time limited supernumerary directorate post of Senior Principal Executive Officer, D2, in the Food and Environmental Hygiene Department for a period of 3 years with effect from the 15th of July 2025 or with immediate effect upon approval of the FC, whichever is the later, for overseeing the work related to private columbarium and the planning of municipal infrastructure projects. Like the 2 previous items, the Establishment Subcommittee did not recommend the further discussion of this paper, so we will not discuss this paper further. I will now put this proposal to vote. Will those in favor of this proposal please raise their hands? Anyone against this proposal? Dr. Teck Shi Yun only. I believe the majority of members who took part in the vote are in favor of this proposal. I declare this proposal passed. Agenda item 4, FCR bracket 2025-2635. This item invites members to approve the reduction of the Financial Committee for the purchase of premises for provision of welfare services scheme from $20 billion to $5 billion and dispensing with the proposed list of welfare facilities to be accommodated in the premises to be purchased. The Social Welfare Department consulted the panel on welfare services on this item to answer members' questions. We have Secretary for Labour and Welfare, Mr. Chris Sun. We also have Principal Assistant Secretary for Labour and Welfare, Mr. Tony Yip. Deputy Director of Social Welfare, Ms. Maggie Leung, and Director of the Government Property Agency, Mr. Eugene Fong. I will now invite Chairman of the panel to brief us on the major points discussed at the meeting. At the meeting on the 12th of May 2025, we discussed this proposal. Members in general supported the administration's proposal and put forward a number of improvement measures. This includes relaxing the technical specification as well as floor area restriction to increase flexibility. Members also suggested a different purchase strategy, that is to purchase and rent at the same time. In relation to the current property market, members suggested that the government should reach out to property owners who asked for a very high price previously and talk to them again. Members are concerned about the alternative proposal after the financial commitment is reduced. Members suggest that a multi-pronged approach should be adopted. For example, spaces should be reserved in public housing projects as well as urban renewal projects for the provision of social welfare facilities. Also, old school campuses as well as old community centers should be revitalized. And the government can also consider renting private properties for social welfare services. Members urged the administration to reduce the financial commitment and the money saved, that is $1.5 billion, should be used for welfare purposes. Upon members' request, the government produced supplementary information explaining the number of vacant as well as government properties in surplus, and they said that the relevant properties are not suitable for welfare purposes. I'll now read out the names of members who've asked to speak. They are Mr. Edward Lau, Dr. Teck Chi Yun, Mr. Rock Chen, Professor Chow Man Kong, Mr. Lim Chun Sing, Mr. Michael Teen, Mr. Brave Chen, and Mr. Benson Look. Mr. Edward Lau will go first. Thank you. I welcome the reduction of the financial commitment for this scheme from $20 billion to $5 billion. I want to know if there is room for further reduction. For non-residential properties as well as commercial properties, their prices are on decline. I believe that the government have enough money to purchase premises and properties. Indeed, for a lot of government properties, like public markets, they are now left vacant and they haven't been made optimal use of. Will the government consider using these premises first for welfare purposes? For example, there are many public markets that are in good location. There are spaces or areas that sell dry goods in these public markets. If you modify these public markets a little bit, there will be room for providing welfare services. I wonder, with the current financial position of the government, is there room to further reduce the financial commitment of this scheme? Secretary, I thank the member for the two questions. First, on the $5 billion of financial commitment, well, we have made careful considerations. Previously, the commitment was $20 billion. With the swapping arrangement and with the relevant restraints removed, we still have to ensure a certain level of commitment. We are now only using 1/4 of the original commitment. With further reduction, there will be too many restrictions in terms of the purchase of properties for welfare purposes. Also, we will adopt a multi-pronged approach. We are currently making use of vacant properties like public markets. With $5 billion of commitment, we will be able to make use of existing properties as well as purchase properties to provide welfare services. Well, previously, the commitment was $20 billion. How many properties were purchased with these $20 billion of commitment? I will ask Mr. Tony Yip to elaborate afterwards. We purchase properties very slowly and we spend very little money. This is because there were too many constraints. We decide to remove the constraints, therefore we propose to do away with the proposed list of welfare facilities. Also, we are proposing a swapping arrangement. We do not want to see too many constraints and restrictions. For example, for premises currently used by young people, we are going to vacate them and will turn them into facilities for elderly people, and this will speed up the process. Mr. Yip. Paragraph 4 of the paper mentions that so far we have purchased 5 premises at a cost of $240 million. That's what I want to say. That is, in the past, there was an urgent need for services, but still the government bought very few premises. We have many choices on the market now. That's why I want to ask if there is room to further reduce the financial commitment. The commitment will be reduced to $5 billion. I think we need to have a review sometime later where appropriate so that we can have spare money. Dr. Teck Chi Yun. In 2020, the government launched this scheme with a financial commitment of $20 billion. It is to purchase premises for welfare purposes. We welcomed this scheme because there were not enough premises for the provision of services, and we had high expectation of this scheme. However, a few years down the road, the scheme was not satisfactory. Only $500 million were spent, and now the financial commitment will be reduced to $5 billion. We had high hopes for this scheme, but this scheme has backfired. I'm disappointed that the administration failed to use up the money. Now we have $5 billion for this scheme, and the administration is going to remove barriers and constraints. Is the Secretary confident that with the $5 billion, he'll be able to achieve the aims? Also, there was a need for premises for welfare services. That's why the commitment was set at $20 billion. But according to the Secretary just now, it's going to adopt a multi-pronged approach. Can you give us a table showing that in the coming 3 to 5 years, how many premises will see an increase so that there will be a better use of facilities for social welfare purposes? Now we have a commitment of $5 billion. If you find it difficult to purchase premises, can you rent properties instead? You can use the money to rent properties in the coming 5 years. 5 years later, we believe that there will be more facilities for social welfare purposes. But in the meantime, can you consider renting premises for NGOs to provide services?
Secretary, thank you. Let me address the questions one by one. What is this first question? Are you confident? Yes, we are. Otherwise, we wouldn't have come. But we do have to look at the actual circumstances. As to whether we can spend all of the $5 billion, I cannot say for sure, but we will spend where appropriate. As to whether we can rent premises, that's a different issue. We can already rent under the existing policies. Say for neighborhood district centers, we allow them to rent out premises for the purposes. This scheme is for the purchase of premises, so we're not planning to spend the money to rent out properties. We can offer you a list, but some of the purchase programs are under progress. What I can undertake is that we will try our best to meet our social welfare needs in the community. Chairman, I hope that the administration will try their best to purchase or rent properties to meet social welfare needs. I'm disappointed by the arrangement, so I will abstain from voting for this proposal. Next, Mr. Rock Chen. Thank you, Chairman. Same with the other two members. I'm worried about the progress of the purchase of properties or premises. I wonder if the social welfare demand can actually be met. We know that there were owners who asked for a very high price, so that's why the government were not able to procure some of the premises. The Secretary addressed part of my question, but I wonder if the administration can relax barriers even further to make sure that the progress of purchase can actually be sped up so that we can meet social welfare demand. I don't want further reduction of the financial commitment a few years down the road. Now 4 to 5 years been passed since the launch of the scheme. I wonder if the administration will try to streamline the procedures by reviewing the scheme earlier so that they can make adjustment in time promptly to cater to any issues that could be upcoming. Secretary, 2 questions. Thank you, Chairman. I thank Mr. Chen for the great suggestions. We have made 2 significant changes to the scheme. We are proposing to dispense with the proposed list of welfare facilities to be accommodated in the premises to be purchased. After dispensing with the proposed list, we can just identify any premises on the market that suit our needs. Previously, there are many constraints under the scheme, such as restrictions on the locations. Second, we also propose to relocate some of the facilities. Premises relating to childcare and elderly care are particularly hard to identify. Instead of having owners alter their premises to cater to our needs, we now would rather relocate current welfare facilities situated on the ground or lower floors that are not subject to height restrictions such as youth service units, thereby releasing the original premises for welfare facilities that are subject to height restrictions. But the member is right. If we want to make any further adjustment to the scheme, we come to the Finance Committee to seek approval. Mr. Chaman Kong, thank you. I welcome the reduction of the financial commitment for the scheme to $5 billion. The FC passed 3 joint use complex in Chunwan, Chengkouo, and Shenshui involving some $4 billion for elderly care and childcare centers. In the past 4 years, we have spent $240 million, and the government said that they expect to spend another $250 million this year. Do you have any plan in mind? Have you reached any MOU with some of the owners? Because the money you spent this year is more than the sum you spent in the last 4 years. You can perhaps purchase premises first and alter them. We have many public markets in Hong Kong, and they are located very conveniently. If we can alter existing public market to cater to social welfare needs, then we can bring more footfall to the premises. Many people told me that they welcomed the idea of community living room. I wonder if the administration can use this sum on community living room, because it's a form of social welfare facilities as well. Secretary, thank you. Mr. Chow, as you can see, the sum we spent this year is far higher than the money we spent in the past 4 years. I cannot disclose the list that we have in mind because it involves sensitive business information. We will identify any vacant premises under the government, including public markets. The alteration cost will not come from this scheme. Third, the government is not planning to purchase community living room because the key to the success of the project is that the business sector shoulder the cost of alteration and renovation, and the site is offered by the private enterprises while it is operated by NGOs. The scheme has been very successful. Many private enterprises told us that they are willing to donate or lease some of the premises to us for, say, 3 years. We do not plan to make any adjustment to the approach. If we decide to purchase premises, then no one would donate or lease the premises to us. Thank you. Mr. Lam Chen Singh. Thank you, Chairman. The scheme was launched in 2019-2020. Originally, the government planned to use $20 billion to purchase 150 premises. In the end, the government were able to only purchase 5 premises. In the paper, the administration said that they are faced with substantial constraints. They've offered us some alternative, say, for example, by setting aside 5% of the total gross floor area of public housing development projects for social welfare facilities. It seems that the government is seeing that the demand can be met just by having these measures. Originally, the government planned to purchase 150 premises with $20 billion. They set the commitment based on the social welfare demand and the issue of an aging population in our community. After the reduction of the financial commitment, I wonder if it will affect the provision of social welfare facilities in the community. Even if we provide for such facilities in the public housing development projects, I wonder if the demand can be met. I think that this scheme is a failure of some sort. I wonder if it will affect the supply of welfare services. Second, you said that you target to purchase 20 premises with the $5 billion of commitment. Now the property prices are going down. Perhaps you can buy more than 20 premises with the $5 billion of commitment. Can you raise your target to, say, 30 properties? Have you talked to any developers or big property owners? Because some developers are willing to lend you their premises for a community living room. Were the developers unwilling to sell you their premises with a lower price? With the lackluster property market, maybe some developers want to get rid of their stock as soon as possible. So have you talked to any developers to make sure that we can actually identify suitable premises with the $5 billion? Well, these are 2 questions. Secretary. Thank you. Now we've reduced the commitment to $5 billion. We believe that the supply gap can be met with the $5 billion. In new development areas, we have enough of such supply, but in existing and old districts, there is a shortage of welfare services. More developers and owners are willing to sell given the existing property market situation. As mentioned in the paper, in the past 5 years, The major challenge that we faced is the stringent restrictions for social welfare facilities. In the past, under the scheme, we have restrictions on the size of the facilities. Say, for example, some facilities should be of some 3,000 to 4,000 square meters. That's why developers or owners with larger properties or premises have to break down their units into smaller ones for sale. Now, we like to dispense with all of these restrictions. We also propose to relocate current welfare facilities situated on the ground or lower floors that are not subject to height restrictions to release the premises for welfare facilities that are subject to height restrictions, such as childcare centers. We believe that the policy goal of the scheme can be met with such an adjustment. Thank you. Mr. Lam's first question is about whether welfare services have been affected with your inability to identify suitable and enough premises. Of course, it would be best if we can have enough premises, but our NGOs are very smart. If they don't have enough space, they will find some ways to work around it. I think that we all have to be innovative and creative. With more space, we can offer more services. Mr. Michael Tian. Thank you, Chairman. I have some comments. This scheme was launched in 2020. When they sought funding from the Finance Committee, I asked the government to look up the list of premises they have. The secretary then said that they have reviewed all of the premises and properties under the government's title and they were not suitable. This May, you came to the LegCo saying that you want to reduce the financial commitment from $20 billion to $5 billion. At the panel meeting, I asked the administration to look up the list of 500 properties that you own to see if any of them is suitable. In mid-June, you list out the list of vacant government properties and land. They are very detailed, so I have no questions regarding that. You explained in detail why those properties and lands are not suitable. I'd like to commend the administration for seeing our questions. I fully support the proposal.
Next, Mr. Brave Chen. I'd like to remind members in this complex that there are 3 members left to speak. If you'd like to put questions to administration, please come down as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'll put this item to vote. Mr. Brave Chen. Well, this scheme was an idea from the previous director. And this scheme is far from satisfactory. So I agree that we should reduce the financial commitment to save money. I thank the Secretary for the detailed response just now. I have the following questions. Just now, some members said we should make good use of available public premises or school campuses or housing projects. Well, this will allow us to make full use of the available spaces. Also, there are many commercial premises at reasonable price. We see that a university has recently just purchased a premise. I think we should be quick in action, otherwise prices may go up again. Well, this may not be a decision to be made by your bureau, but the financial secretary. If we're slow in action and property prices go up again, $5 billion may not be enough. So, will you work with the relevant government bureaus and departments so that we can save up money and at the same time we can take prompt action? Secretary, we will make the best use of available government premises. We will renovate them. We have director from the government property agency here. I'll ask him to elaborate. We hope to, in accordance with the established procedures, purchase premises as early as possible. GPA. We understand that there's a need from the Labor and Welfare Bureau to purchase premises. Through different channels, we buy premises. Some of them are offered for sale by owners. In other cases, we saw ads and we reached out to the relevant owners or developers. So we will purchase premises through as many channels as possible. We've been working closely with the Social Welfare Department. Once we've identified the site, we will reach out to the owner and we will talk to the owner about the price. Simply put, prices of commercial properties have been on decline. However, we have to purchase premises at a reasonable price that's in line with the market price. Well, I hope the director can work like the business sector, and once you've got a good price, you should take action immediately so that we have premises that can serve welfare purposes. Mr. Benson, look. The idea came from 2019 policy address. The original purpose was to spend $20 billion on 60 premises to provide 130 facilities benefiting 860,000 people. Now we are lowering the commitment and we have only so far spent $500 million. The papers explained the challenges and difficulties. By proposing the reduction of the financial commitment, I see that the administration is putting forward some new arrangements and proposals, and the government is working to purchase 27 premises. How much time will the administration spend to identify the right premises? Will there be a grandfathering clause added to this scheme? Say by a certain time, the administration still fails to purchase the targeted number of premises, or the money is still not spent. Will the money be put back to public coffers, or will the scheme be reviewed then? That's my first question. Also, the regional commitment is $20 billion, and the regional goal is to benefit 86,000 people. Now that the commitment is lowered to $5 billion, what will be the targeted number of beneficiaries? Will the number of beneficiaries be adjusted? Third question. We have to look at the feasibility. According to the paper, currently, the administration is trying to purchase 27 properties. At what stage is the government at in purchasing these properties? Are we seeing good progress? Thank you. 3 questions, Secretary. I thank Mr. Look for the questions. As to whether there will be a grandfathering clause, we haven't got the money from the government yet. It is only if there is a transaction that we will get money from the public coffers. Now we are proposing to reduce the commitment from $20 billion to $5 billion. We have given careful thought to it. We can't say for sure that we will be able to use up all the money. It really depends on whether we can reach a deal with the owners, but we are quite confident this time. Now on the number of beneficiaries. Previously, we're able to calculate the number of beneficiaries because we had a targeted number of premises, but now we are adopting a different approach. We can't say for sure how many people will benefit. We will take actions based on the market instead of the other way around. We will definitely give a report to this council once we've made progress. But I have to be honest, this is because we are adopting a different approach, so we cannot tell exactly how many people will benefit from the scheme. But we will report to this council on the number of beneficiaries once we have made progress. I'll defer the other question to the director. Yes, Mr. Eugene Fong. For some properties, we are at the later stage, but we are also at the initial stage for the purchase of some properties. The SWD and our department would definitely fight for time. We will try our best to purchase the properties that are right. Thank you. Dr. Junius Ho. I've always supported the Secretary. This is because the Secretary is resolute in making decisions. The financial commitment will be reduced from $20 billion to $5 billion. I think this is too conservative. Back in 2020, your predecessor said confidently that we needed to buy premises because the government premises were not appropriate, and the government was to buy over 100 premises, but within just a few years we've only spent about a few $100 million, and so I agree that we should reduce the commitment to $5 billion. But I have a criticism against the government because it is overturning its previous decision. When the market is doing well, of course, we don't mind purchasing premises that are of a higher price. Well, back in 2020, the market was doing very well. That's why we approved the $20 billion of commitment. So we gave you the green light. Now, property prices have dropped by 2/3, and you are withdrawing your decision. I think the government should be bold to carry on with this scheme. The government is trying to purchase 27 premises. If you have the business mind, you should be able to purchase the targeted number of premises within just 2 months. Over the past 4 or 5 years, you've only spent $500 million. If you are the financial secretary, I will say you are doing a good job. But as a secretary for labor and welfare, $500 million is too little. You are not spending the $19.5 billion you have. Will you come back to us and ask for money in the future? So my comment is, I don't think the government thought through this. This is just a comment from me. Secretary, do you want to respond? I thank Dr. Junius Ho for the comment. I will make sure that the $5 billion will be put to good use. Next, Mr. Michael Lee. The financial commitment for this scheme will be lowered from $20 billion to $5 billion. I believe the $5 billion will be spent on those in need. So I support this proposal. But as mentioned, we're seeing a drop in property prices. I believe $5 billion will be enough in the near future. You say that you are buying 27 properties now. How will you attract more owners to reach a deal with you? Do you have a mechanism in place to liaise with owners? Are you going to hold open tenders? Also, public organizations like the Housing Society and the Housing Authority or the Urban Renewal, well, I declare that I am a non-executive director of the URA. I'd like to see if you will work with them. I will ask Mr. Fong to respond to the questions. It's quite a technical question. Mr. Fong. We welcome any owners to offer site for sale all year round. We will also identify any appropriate premises available on the market, and we will reach out to the relevant owners. So we don't just sit here and wait for owners to approach us. We will look for advertisements and we contact directly the developers. For public organizations, if they have identified appropriate premises, they will refer the cases to us and we'll talk to this SWD. So please rest assured that we have been taking the initiative to do so. Well, there being no further questions, I'll now put this item to vote. Will members in favor of this proposal please raise their hands? Any members against this proposal? No? I believe the majority of the members present who took part in the vote are in favor of this item. This item is approved. The next FC meeting will be held on the 18th of July this year. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.